Welcome to Awakening You channel. If you appreciate what we do, please support us. Thank you. Beloved Masters, the collective consciousness of humanity is striving to acknowledge the extreme duality that permeates the earth. Each and every person, at some level, is fighting the battle to attain greater self-awareness, which must include embracing both the light and shadow side of self while endeavoring to return to an accepted range of duality and polarity. Each of you must recognize and claim your shadow side, your symbolic demons within, so that they, too, may embrace the light of transformation. Human suffering is the result of rigid thinking, a sense of superiority and judgment of others, which lead to separation rather than unity and tolerance for opposing viewpoints. Can you accept the premise that your negative thought forms are also seeking release? They are rising to the surface of your consciousness, seeking illumination and truth, just as you are. You must take responsibility for what you create, moment to moment. Negative thoughts and actions result in distorted creations and chaos. It is important for you to understand that your physical vessel was encoded for the return to the higher vibrational, more rarefied realms of light from the inception of your earthly embodiment experiences. Also, as humanity evolves, growing in wisdom and becoming more aware of the science and the intricacies of ascension, there have been many adjustments to the process over the past several hundred years. Some initial ascension procedures have been discarded and others, more advanced requirements, have been added. In the past, ascension was possible for just a select few. Only those who came to Earth to be examples and ways-howers, and who were spiritually advanced, were allowed into the inner sanctums of the mystery schools. The secret doctrine was only given to those who were considered to be the strongest and most dedicated disciples. The lessons, tests, and challenges were strenuous, and many perished during the process or did not attain their goal for many lifetimes. That has now changed, for time is running out for the ascension of the earth and humanity into the next level of awareness, and many divine dispensations and much assistance are being offered to those who are striving to meet the challenges and tests of ascension. We have explained that each soul, before incarnating into a physical vessel, is given an allotment of adamantine particles of life for personal use throughout their lifetime. If a person's allotment is used with loving intention for the greatest good, then the flow of full-spectrum light will continue throughout his or her lifetime. However, when a person becomes unloving, negative, and embittered, the access to the Sacred Heart and the God particles of life is no longer available. Thereafter, he or she can only access the half-spectrum light, or the primal life force substance, which can be requalified and used in either a positive or negative way. Remember, adamantine particles of creator light can only be activated and used with loving intention for the highest good. A young child's heart center is open wide and the God particles flow freely, unimpeded. However, how long the child's heart center stays open depends on the love and nurturing they receive from their parents and those around them. Many dear souls have placed an etheric shield of protection over their heart centers so that the pain and suffering will not affect them so drastically. Thereby, they close the door to their sacred inner sanctum where their God particles of creation are stored. Along with the allotment of adamantine particles that were placed in each person's sacred heart center, a smaller allotment was also placed within each of the major chakra centers of the physical body. The largest portion was placed at the root chakra, which the ancients called the Kundalini, the coiled serpent of fire, or the sacred fire. There is an accelerated planetary initiation now in progress, and it is affecting everything on the earth plane, especially sentient beings. There are much fear and trepidation as the collective consciousness of humanity undergoes the dramatic changes that occur at the closing of one age and the beginning of a more advanced era. Especially, when much of what was considered to be of vast importance on the earthly plane slowly changes or disappears. As these drastic evolutionary changes take place, they will not affect you if your energetic signature is of a higher, more balanced frequency. There is also a great sense of anticipation and excitement for those who have learned to stay centered within the Sacred Heart. There are many probable futures before each of you, and it is important that you stay centered in the still point of the present moment. You may be led to change course several times as you slowly move into the fluidity of the higher dimensions. However, if you allow your sacred heart and your higher self to light the way, you will never be led astray. The timelines of the future lead to higher, more stable ground, away from the imbalanced spectrum of duality and the distorted reality of separation. You are in the process of integrating the many fragments of self you have created while in physical embodiment. In preparation for a reunion with the many facets of your soul family, both on the earth and in the many dimensions throughout the solar system and galaxy, and eventually throughout this sub-universe and beyond. There must be a reunification with self, and a return to your center of power, which resides within your sacred heart. Once you make the connection with your oversoul or higher self, and begin the process of reuniting with all the facets of your God self, I am presence, the urge to reunite becomes a magnetic force that cannot be denied. Your soul, which is composed of Creator Essence, is your conscious guide and companion while in the physical vessel. For a long time the soul has been only a faint whisper for most people, for the ego desire personality is very strong and has held a dominant position within. The initiation process begins when you slowly make way for the soul to assume its proper place as director of your life, which eventually allows the higher self to take charge of your journey back into the realms of light. Gradually, the column of light, which contains your lifeline to the Creator, begins to widen until eventually it is the width of the crown of your head. That is when you tap into the flow of your divine I Am presence, and the Creator particles of love or life begin to flow through and from you. This wondrous, luminescent sacred fire gives you access to your treasures stored in heaven, an unlimited source of Creator light as long as it is charged with your love light and used for the greatest good. The river of life has a multitude of tributaries throughout this sub-universe, and many of you, as you tap into your sacred mind and learn to stay centered within the sacred heart, are becoming conduits for the adamantine particles of Creator consciousness. First, you must attune the pineal and pituitary glands to your higher self, which begins the process of dissolving the membranes of light that guard the sacred mind. Your sacred mind makes the connection with your sacred heart, and once the activated adamantine particles of God consciousness begin to flow from the sacred heart to the sacred mind, the process of illumination accelerates. The Creator light flows through the crown chakra and enters the pineal gland, promoting cellular awareness as it activates the pituitary and hypothalamus glands and courses through the brain structure into your sacred mind. It then flows down into the sacred heart where the particles of Creator light are further activated through your loving intention. These activated God particles of light are now ready to assist you in creating anything you desire as long as your intention is for the greatest good. The voice of your higher self becomes clearer, and the nudgings of your sacred heart, called your intuition, become stronger. Intuition is the ability to understand a concept or certain information immediately, without conscious reasoning. Your higher self speaks to you via your intuition and, eventually, clears the pathway to your God self and the wisdom stored within the cosmic records. Your intuition also gives you signals via a feeling of something being right or your truth, or a feeling of dread or discomfort when something is wrong or not in alignment with the light or truth. Inspiration is the process or quality of being inspired, such as when a sudden, timely or unusual idea, sometimes about something that you were not aware of before, pops into your mind. Channeling or messages from your angelic guides and teachers often lead to inspired concepts or awareness of things beyond the realm of your knowing. Intuition is validated via the mind first and then through the heart, whereas inspiration is validated through the heart first and then through the reasoning processes of the mind. Your perception of time and space is rapidly changing as you learn to focus more on the moment instead of vacillating between the past and the future, with only moments of concentrated awareness of the present. Feelings of separation, isolation, and judgment are being replaced by a sense of unity consciousness, which will eventually lead to a sense of oneness with all creation. As time accelerates and the frequencies of divine light become stronger and more compelling, it is important that you reflect on what has taken place, the challenges you have met and overcome, the gains you have made, and the obstacles that you must surmount in the future. As the boundaries of your reality become more defined, and you allow much of what you thought was important to slowly change or fade into the past, you must become wiser and more discerning in your choices. When you cling to people or things which no longer fit in your new reality, the sense of being out of harmony becomes more pronounced. By stating, "Thy will be done," gives your higher self permission to increase your intuitive abilities, which include knowing almost instantly when you have made right or wrong choices. By doing so, you can quickly rectify any actions that veer you off the straight and narrow path of ascension. You, as faithful followers of the light, must be ever vigilant in your thoughts and actions to be sure that you are always in alignment with your new, upgraded divine blueprint. As the vanguard sentinels of light, you have the ability to overcome or neutralize the negative thought forms of many thousands of people who are still functioning within the restraints of the third and lower fourth dimensional illusion. You are in the process of building a firm foundation for the future of all humanity. Your inner strength and wisdom will serve you well if you stay centered within your sacred heart as you become a master of self and a conveyor of the rarefied particles of God consciousness. Believe it or not, there were some advantages in the withdrawal of a major portion of your manifestation abilities in the past. We have told you that the red, exoteric or physical plane color, of the first ray of divine will and power to create was mostly withdrawn after the earth and humanity sank into the density of the third and lower fourth dimensional environment. That was done so that humanity would not destroy itself during the age of extreme duality. That period is swiftly coming to a close as humanity awakens, and regains the ability to integrate more spiritual light. As you move forward into the upper fourth and the lower fifth dimension, your physical body will become more radiant as the Creator light begins to shine forth more strongly from within. Remember, you were brought forth from the sacred heart core of the Supreme Creator as a white fire seed atom conscious being, from which comes the saying, "Made in the image and likeness of God." The light of the Creator contains energy, intelligence, and everything necessary to create worlds without end, in order to fulfill the divine plan for creation. You are being given an opportunity to become a co-creator of the highest order. However, you must step out of your comfort zone and reclaim your birthright. Shine on, my faithful ones, and as your circle of influence radiates farther and farther out into the world, one day the circles of light will overlap and your combined illumination will burst into pure God light and surround the world. Follow the path of light, beloveds. The time of the grand reunion is at hand. You are loved profoundly. I am Archangel Michael.